Yeah.
Look at that, Mr. Hall.
What's up, man? How
J.
y'all doing?
J. Hall, what's good,
What's up, man? How y'all boys doing this
man?
evening?
Good.
You doing all right,
Getting
Mr.
your
Hall?
haircut, huh?
Bad.
Doing great. How you doing today, Mark? How you doing, Coach?
Good. I'm doing good, man.
Awesome.
Well, we'll knock this out. I don't want to take up your whole day, um, but I do want to talk a little bit. I appreciate you guys taking some time to hop on and talk a little bit. It's been fun doing these little interviews with coaches. I think coaches have a lot of valuable insight. They've got this ability to reach kids and reach people and change lives and make impacts. And so, just getting to know these people, and kind of getting out there to the world. So, I appreciate you guys hopping on. So, if y'all ready, we can just hop in and knock it out and get you back to your families.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So we got Dave President, Shadow Creek, and Jarvin Hall, Harlan High School. First off, how you guys doing with this whole COVID situation? I know maybe we talked about it a little bit, but just kind of touch on that.
It's been good for me just to be able to kind of slow down a little bit, as coaches, we have a lot on our shoulders, a lot on the table, and just for us to be able to just kind of slow down and, focus on family a little bit, focus on some personal things and, my health, just time with my son, my wife. It's been really good. It's been a really good break.
Yeah, same here. Me and Coach Perez both went deep in the playoffs this year, and it didn't start from the first day of school. It started last summer league before. So, basketball season never ends, right? So it's important that been a good time, like Coach Perez said, to just definitely spend time with our families, man. I got, two beautiful girls, a wife, son. It's just good to be home, eating good every day, home cooked meal. We have yet to order out takeout. We've cooked every meal since we've been home. So I think that's special. We're getting really creative on that type thing. So I just really appreciating just all good things, family, your health, and all those things. I think this being home kind of redirect your mind.
Absolutely. You guys been binge watching any TV shows while you've been home? Anything good?
I've been on. I've just finished Ozark, which actually that's a really good one. And just anticipating this The Last Dance, series. Pretty much what I've been on. And then besides that, it's been Baby Bump. So that's kind of where I'm at with my TV watching right now.
Yeah, I'm on All American. Watched that whole good show and Ozark. That's about it, man. On this Google Classroom, man. This distant learning.
Yeah, that keeps you pretty busy, I bet, huh?
Yeah.
Man, most people that I've ever asked that question, they all say Ozark. Every one of them has said Ozark, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one, though. It's a good one.
I've just now started and going back and watching some film. I told myself I was gonna give myself a break, but I hadn't watched any. I guess the last 3 playoff games I haven't really had a chance to sit down and watch, and so today was like the starting point of that, of just going back and reflecting on the end of the season. So definitely going to get back into that, as we get closer into the summer.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, we all have that itch. We want to get back into the gyms and get back to our routine with our boys, and we can only do what we can, right? So right now it's really just calling the kids, having some Zooms, and watching a little bit of film here and there.
Right.
Talk a little bit about let's talk about your journeys, your coaching journeys. How did you get into it? Where'd you start up until this point?
Go ahead, Prince.
Man, it's been a journey. Once I got done playing at UTSA in 2005, I took the grad assistant spot. So my goal, of course, is to coach at the college level. Ended up, getting my degree at UTSA and then I took a job with the New Jersey Nets in the front office. It was on the business side of things. It had nothing to do with basketball operations. And just kind of wanted to jump out there and see, what the business world was like, and decided that it wasn't for me. So I ended up coming back and getting an assistant job at the time. John Havens, who is now at Richland College, head coach at Richland College, he was an assistant at St. Ed's. And after having a conversation with him, Ryan Marks was the head coach at St. Ed's at the time. They decided, to hire me as an assistant there. So I did 2 years. I did 2 years at St. Ed's. And then with him getting the head job at UT Pan American, he wanted me to accept an offer there, but they couldn't pay me. And so I just decided that wasn't the route that I wanted to go. So I got a hold of my high school coach, and he told me that, he could pay me more, I'd be closer to home, a little bit more stability in my life. So I decided to take the high school route. I was at Marble Falls High School for 3 years. And the crazy thing is, Coach Hall was, I guess, played at Temple College when I was coming up. And so him and my high school coach had a great relationship. And at the time, Hall had took a job, a 5A job in San Antonio, and his position came open. And it's crazy how the world works, man. It's just, right time, right place, knowing the right people. Welder was a powerhouse at the 1A level. And, it was that, as a coach, do I want to take a 1A job? Like, where does that put me if I take a 1A head coaching job? But going down and actually visiting with Hall and visiting with just the kids in the community, you can just tell that they were hungry, that it was a program that wanted to be successful. And it was something that I wanted to be a part of. So it's just crazy how things happen that I ended up taking Coach Hall's position at Welder High School. And just from there, man, was able to win some games and had an opportunity to go back and coach at home at Belton High School for 2 years. And then this position at Shadow Creek opened up, and it was a no-brainer. So happy where I am now. Definitely have a program that I feel like can make a run at it every year. And so we're just trying to build on that.
Nice. Coach Hall?
Yeah, journey. I actually Texas. West Texas boy. Coming from the country, had the opportunity to go play. At Temple. We met Coach Edwards, who we spoke of, his old assistant, great man. Scholarship, Lubbock Christian.
Did he freeze on your side too, Dave?
Yeah.
Coach Hall, you're kind of frozen there, bud. Dave, I know you. How long have I known you since you've been hooping? I mean, that's a long time.
Years, man. I mean, we go way back. That hoop circle in San Antonio. It's one that I'm always grateful for. There's a lot of great basketball players in the city of San Antonio. Past, present, and future, and just want to be able to play college ball there, but then too, just be able to build the relationships, with the guys who are, out of San Antonio. There's a lot of people who have big influences on the game of basketball, man, and it can play. It can play the game, know the game, high basketball IQs, and those are just great relationships to have, man, throughout the city.
Yeah. It's crazy. As long as I've known you, I didn't know about most of your journey like that. I didn't know half of the stuff that you were saying right now. It's good stuff.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Like I said, Hall was at Welder, and it just came up. And as a coach, you think like, man, dude, I was at the college level. Do I really want to take a 1A job? But I tell guys all the time, man, I think to be a head coach, there's some avenues that you have to take that might not always be what you want. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to jump out there and go seize the moment, instead of waiting for it to happen, and that was just a risk that I took, going to the 1A level. And the best part of it is, it's just, that welder community, man, they're so involved. I mean, when you talk about Friday night lights in Texas where the town shuts down, everybody's at football games. That's how it is at Welder as far as basketball. Real strong, rich tradition, and that's what they want to do. They want to be a Wildcat. They want to represent that community, man, and it's something actually really special. It's a special place. It taught me a lot. Especially coming from the college level. You do have relationships with kids, but when you know them from 5th grade on up, it's a different kind of relationship. You build a different kind of bond with those kids, and that's kind of what it opened my eyes to. And it did a lot for me as a coach, and in my professional career. It's something I've been able to carry on as I've gone up and accepted other jobs, but definitely a special place to me.
I was just having this conversation with a friend of mine. Like, there's a lot of people that don't get to experience that small town, shut the city down when it's a big game or any game kind of environment like that, varsity blues type feel, right? There it is.
Man, sorry about that, man. Pause that Zoom. Sorry. Not sure. Well, we got iPads and everything going over here. Wife working from home. I don't know what's going on. But I real quick, man. I'll be quick. Sorry for messing up the Zoom right there.
No, that's all good.
Like I said, being from Abilene, Texas, went and played at Temple Junior College. Had a chance to go play at Lubbock Christian. Was there, and you had dreams of going to play maybe pro ball or something like that. Didn't really work out. I was kind of waiting on a few things. Did a few jobs, managed night spot. Had a little fun with that. I actually was able to sell some cars, and I mean, he's a head coach at Southside right now. Albert, you get him on him. He has a state championship. He knew I had played college ball, and knew I was great with kids. Great with kids. I loved the guy, great character. So he put his me if he knew his job, and of course called me, and I was able to become the athletic director, head coach there. With never been an assistant coach before, just kind of took that job head on. And I did it with love, man. Luckily, I was single at the time. Dave knows being at Welder, you have to coach everything then in the 1A level. But I was able to do some good things there. Coming in, they were pretty good, but it was my job to make sure they had some discipline. So, I started the bitty basketball. I started league at Welder, first time ever, and started all these things. And before you know it, we were taking the regional tournament. Was fortunate enough to take them to the state tournament to get some recognition. We didn't have football, so we were beating 5A teams, 4A teams.
Nice.
So it didn't matter. My school coach walks in the gym one day, didn't even there. My high school coach walked in, substitute teacher, and that year, state, and he was just so shocked of the work that we were doing in Welder, and so he kind of made some phone calls and kind of, made some how to put me in the right and put me in front of the right people, and I was able to make that jump from 1A to 5A, which I know I need to write a book because that never happens, right? That never happens, but definitely need to write a book. But we did some good things at Welder, ranked state, and it's basically, and by the grace of God, they let me hire the next coach, and I had a great relationship with Coach Etheridge, which is Coach President's mentor, old coach. And, man, everybody wanted that job, man. It was a hot job. And David President was a perfect guy for that job. And perfect situation. Like he said, those kids were hungry. The town was hungry. And he came in and took it to a great level as well. And, his success and where he is. From there, I was able to go to Holmes High School. Had a great time there, man. Got to coach some phenomenal kids. And they hadn't been to the playoffs in over 20 years. So we're able to push them into the playoffs. first time ever in over 20 years at Holmes High School. And then I was fortunate enough to open up Harlan High School. And that's, that's as Coach President can tell you, that's a special thing. It was hard to leave Holmes because everywhere I go, I make sure that's my home. Like I bleed and I breathe school. So it's definitely hard to leave anywhere you've ever been. So that was tough. But to be able to start a program and develop our own character traits and values and just kind of build it from the ground up, I couldn't pass up that. And given the opportunity to do that, man, it's been awesome. Definitely first 2 years, district champs and regional tournament appearances. So we definitely have a good thing going on in Harlan. So,
now that you brought that up, let's touch on that a little bit. What does it feel like to open up a school, start a brand new program from the ground up? I mean, just talk a little bit about that process and your thoughts going into it. Both of you guys, you both did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're going on year 5 now, but just been able to start the program and you have a blank canvas. You're able to implement all of your core values. You're not breaking any bad habits. You're not you're not picking up on somebody else's tradition. It's all your culture. It's all your pride. And to see the kids buy into it. It's something special, because it's what you started, and so it definitely has its ups and downs, especially early. When you're still trying to figure things out, you might not have all the resources you need up front, so just trying to figure things out, to make sure you can get yourself up and running. But like I said, it's a blank canvas. You're able to implement, your system, so to say. From the beginning, from the jump, there's a lot that can be taught, as the years go on, but you're never like having to break bad habits. So it's been an experience, and it's one that I take pride in, because again, it was a blank canvas, and so to see where it is now, it's you appreciate those low moments. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, sure.
Been good.
Nice. Coach Hall?
Yeah, same thing here. Immediately getting the job. First person I called, Dave. First person I called, I was like, "Hey, man, how is it opening a new school? What some of the things I need to focus on, and what some of the challenges." And so I appreciate that, Prez. He was definitely a great to lean on, man, to get some insight on that. Like you said, man, having that blank canvas, man, coming in and building a brand. Building a brand. That's how I look at it, man. Telling your own story, building a brand, developing culture. You deal with, first year we're a JV team, so you get you got students coming. Brennan, O'Connor, incoming freshmen, and at that point, every kid that was varsity, they got to stay at those schools. So we inherited everybody's, freshman kids, JV kids, and be able to maximize their true potential, and really just integrate, your philosophy, your culture. It's been amazing, man. It's, everyone sees the success, but they don't see the work and the hours and the communication and the relationships that you have to build, the trust that you have to build with not only your players, but your parents and the community. They don't see all that. They just see the product, right? So going through all of that and putting it all together, man, when you take a step away from it, had to do, it's amazing so far. And we're definitely doing things the right way and heading in the right direction. So, nice.
Well, from the outside looking in, both of you guys done a really good job of building y'all's programs. I've seen yours up close and personal more than a few times, Jarvin. And Dave, I've been in contact with you since the beginning. And just seeing the work that you guys are doing with your program, when people hear of Shadow Creek basketball or Harlan basketball, people respect what you're doing. And so much respect to you guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I know you brought it up earlier, Coach Hall, your uncle, right? Won a state championship, kind of got you in the business. What was it like playing him in the third round this year of the playoffs?
Yeah, I'll start out the very first time I played him, he beat me by 65.
65.
Okay, the very first time I played him, and after the game, that's my own uncle. Okay, my own uncle beats me by 65 points, and it was a rivalry between Welder and Gonzalez that they had been waiting for probably 15, 20 years. They would never play each other. And here comes this new coach playing my seasoned uncle, man, and he beats me by 65 points. And after the game, in the line, he says, "Hey, welcome to high school basketball." And that's made me the coach I am today. Honestly, that made me really buy into the game and to these kids, and really, buy into the whole process. Because since then, he's never beat me. Love you, Uncle. He's never beat me since. And I have pride with that, and I love him to death. But he definitely made me who I am today. But to play him in the third round, it was tough. It was tough. It was the third time playing him. We all know how hard it is to beat a team 3 times,
Yeah.
right? And he does a great job at Southside. Like I said, he has experience, state championships. He's been coaching over 20-something years. He's my mentor, so he knows what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, and so he definitely threw some wrinkles in that thing. And we came out victorious, but just the respect level that we have for each other, the love as coaching staffs. We all get together. We eat at my house. I barbecue. They come over. His players came on my bus after the game and told my guys congratulations again.
Nice.
Come off the bus, man. It was that kind of sportsmanship, that kind of love, because it starts with the coaches. They know that we love each other, right? And it transfers to our program. So I definitely have a lot of respect for Southside. I think he gets overlooked for the job that he's doing over there, which is sad. But he does a freaking phenomenal job for Southside over there, man. And it was tough, but we got the win, but it was tough.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, I've had the pleasure of coaching against him when we were with Southside a few years ago in that district, and so I'm looking forward to they moved us back into that district with him. So I'm looking forward to having some good battles with your uncle. He's a really good coach. I respect everything he does. Opinion, right? You got the Dream Team and the Redeem Team. They're playing in a 7-game series. Who wins?
Who are the refs?
I mean, it's I think it kind of it goes back to different eras. I think the skill level on the Redeem Team is definitely overall is better than it was with the original Dream Team. I just think the competitive nature of Dream Team, and that's just in the game of basketball, past versus present. I just think the competitive level is at an all-time high, where sometimes it takes that over talent to win games. And so I don't know, it's kind of up in the air. I'm a Michael Jordan. I mean, I believe that he's the GOAT hands down. And it's just hard to bet against. You can't bet against Mike. So with that being said, I have to go with the Dream Team.
Yeah, me too. Same thing. I think it's a mindset. I think it comes down to mindset and era, like Coach Fred says. And I think the Dream Team, they were going to refuse to, like they had that mentality of refuse, and they were willing to do whatever it took to be on top. They were fighting each other in practice almost. With you hear the stories of Jordan and Magic and them going at it. I just think that the refuse to lose attitude they have, and the physicality that they had to go through, to play each other, and that whole era. I think it was more of just a blue collar league. Like, you definitely had to bring your hard hat, and I think that would have got them over the edge. I think that would have got them over the edge. And the referees, of course, if they let some of that stuff go.
We're talking like 92 refs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You think about the winning that those individuals have been a part of. I mean, you think about most of those guys on the Dream Team, they were part of dynasties. between Bird,
All of it.
Pippen. Those guys were a part of great winning tradition, programs and organizations. And so I think that plays a lot in it too,
That
but
pride. Yeah.
skill level wise, I definitely think that the NBA, is a lot more skilled on all levels. Obviously, the talent is unreal. What 7-footers are doing now than what they were, back then. It's different, But then you throw in the physicality of the game, that can change. That can change, your views on it as well. So I don't know, man. At the end of the day, the sport is about competition, and I think that era back in the day was the most competitive that it's ever been, So that's where I'm torn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same here. It'd been fun to watch, but it's just good to talk about. That's all we can ever do about it, but to speculate,
Absolutely.
talk
There's so
about.
many
But
different things that could change it, right? We got 92 refs. We got a 2000 refs. Are they going to let them bang around a little bit, or who's going to be able to impose that style more than the other, right? I mean, so many what ifs.
It's a great conversation.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about just some impactful moments in your coaching career. Where you realize, both of you guys have had a ton of success, but when you realize that it's much deeper than wins and losses, and it's more about the kids and their well-being and growing young men. Let's talk a little bit about some of those moments.
You want me to take this one?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Man, my whole philosophy is my guys are my trophies. I tell them that all the time. My guys are my trophies. When they come back and they're successful, whether it's going to college or being a responsible worker or business owner or going to college, whatever they choose to be, those guys are my trophies. Because at the end of the day, it's only one state champion, right? It's only one team in the state of Texas that's really going to be a winner, right? So how do you win? And I think you as a coach and a head coach, you have to find, ways to win, and which is cultivating young lives, And I think that me at an early age, being at Welder, taught me that way bigger than basketball. I attended funerals. I've fed kids. I've had to give them rides. I had to do basically be the mentor, the father figure. I had one of my players, sister passed away while he was driving, got in a bad wreck with my players. Coach Fred had to coach that young kid as well. Just have to be there with that family. And, it just shows, man, that, and he reached out to me the other day for my birthday. When it happened, he stayed at my house for like a few days. Like, come to my house and we're going to be good. So just, all those personal relationships that you build, man, and all the trials and tribulations, the good times, the losses, the wins. And when you go through those things together and you can really impact these young men's lives, man, that's what it's really about.
Yeah, it's same here, man. I think that's the most important part is when you have kids that come back, and you hear them, coaching up the guys that are in the program now, and their experiences and and what they believe help them get through. Just being able to see those kids come back, talk about the program, and just be around. That tells you that you've done a great impact on their lives. This time has been great for me to even reach out to those guys. I've had a chance to get some time with a lot of the guys that I've had in my program over the last couple years, and just to hear their stories, man, and see how much we've impacted their lives. It's just something that you appreciate as a coach, and that you're on the right track of doing the right thing. So definitely, like Coach Hall said, man, your kids are your trophies, and so that's why we're in the business. We're in the business to help kids. We're in the business to to lay the blueprint out for them, to give them tools to be successful in just life, and so, when they come back and they tell us their stories, or you see the things that they're accomplishing, or you see them being, fathers and first-time fathers, and, taking that next step in their life, man, that's always it's always rewarding.
Absolutely. That's good stuff, guys. That's great stuff. Let's talk a little bit now about just thinking back to any game as a player or coach, best game you've ever been a part of in your life.
Best game. I'll go first. I think that going into the NCAA tournament, that experience for me was something that I mean, you can only experience it. It's just hard to explain it. You always hear people say, "Man, that's the best. It's the best feeling." Getting a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. But just actually being able to experience it, to play in front of 20,000+ people against the number one team in the country. That's probably the biggest moment in my playing career, the biggest game that I've ever been a part of. Which you never forget. You never forget the journey. You never forget the preparation for it. You never forget all the travel and all the it's just unreal. It's hard to explain, but definitely being a part of the NCAA tournament is my biggest moment.
Y'all played UConn?
Played Stanford at the time. Stanford had Josh Childress. They had the two twins, and they had a really good point guard. I think at that time they had only lost one game, and so they were rolling. And you really now see the difference between high level and mid major basketball when they're subbing out 7-footers and bringing in 6'9", 6'10". It's just a different level. So you actually get a chance to see why they are who they are. But definitely one of the most memorable memories that I'll have, playing the game of basketball.
What's you, Coach Hall?
Mine comes as a coach. We're at Welder. The game to go to state regional finals. We went 3 overtimes. 3 overtime game, man, to go to the state tournament. I mean, what more do you have to do, right?
What was that like? The kids were probably exhausted, I bet.
Oh, kids were exhausted, man. You're definitely playing off, the energy from the crowd. As a coach, you're steady adjusting. At the end of the game, I feel like we played 2 games basically, right? 2 games. So, you feel like you definitely played as a coach, physically running the sideline. So just to those kids get through that moment and just work through that adversity and to just show how they believed in the overall goal and just how they bought in and was willing to do whatever it took to be successful, and they never quit. Man, as a coach, what more can you ask for, right? What more on the biggest stage that those kids had ever been on, they fought for their city, and they got to come out victorious in front of the whole city. Because when you're talking 1A basketball, the city shuts down. You can go get all the barbecue sauces you want. I mean, the city shuts down. So, for us to really go do that for that town, man, and just to come out victorious and to punch your ticket to go to the state tournament, I'll never forget that feeling, man. I mean, it's just like, the other team was on the free throw line with no time on the clock.
Yeah.
Tie game on the free throw line. Misses and looks at the bench and was like, "It's over with." And he misses. Yeah, and he misses the free throw. And then my best player, Dontre Houston, he comes over and said, "I got you, coach. Sit down, I got you." Then we proceeded to take the game over and go to the next round. But it just making a state tournament. The first game we lost, but just making it. I remember Mr. Beasley, we all know him from UIL. I'm sitting there coaching it, and I sit down, and he passes by me during the game. He's like, "Coach, look around you. All these coaches wish they could be in your seat right now." I was like, wow. He put me in perspective real quick.
For sure.
And after the game, he told me, "You're a part of a certain fraternity that coaches coach over 30 to 40 years. They never get there." So he said, "Enjoy this moment, man." So I really just, at that point, my mind switched, and I enjoyed the whole journey.
That's some great.
I'm part of a certain fraternity, and we all know we're just competitive. We want to win. When you lose, I don't care what it is. we saw Jordan gambling, right, losing. He wanted to win, and we're
Also those
competitive.
quarters.
Yeah, like all we're just so in tune of what at whatever time it is, and we have to be reminded at certain points that hey, through adversity, we still have success, right? Through losses, we don't lose, we learn, and you have to hold on to some of them losses as W's as well. So.
Absolutely. So you guys got any advice for any young aspiring coaches, trying to get in the game, what to expect, and anything? What would you tell yourself, I guess, as a young, brand new coach, knowing what you know now?
Don't be afraid of adjustment, man. Don't be afraid of change. Like we talked about earlier. I talked to a lot of young coaches, and a lot of young coaches they're comfortable in where they are as far as just being an assistant and wanting a head job, but not wanting to go get a head job. And so don't be afraid to jump out there. Don't be afraid to take on a challenge. Don't be afraid to put yourself in a situation where you have to perform. As a young person. Embrace the challenges. Bet on yourself. Bet on yourself, and good things will come.
I think that's important. I mean, I'm pretty fortunate, man. I have a little coaching tree. Head coach at O'Connor, Brett Jawaszko, that was my old assistant. Coach Jacklin's over at Marshall, definitely helped me out when I was at home. I feel like he's a part of my coaching tree. Just kind of I allowed him to be a part of my program. And then my assistant coach Vargas over at Holmes right now. He's having interviews like crazy to be a head job. To be a head coach. He's about to get one. His time is coming. He's very good. So, I think that, being a coach, and it's our job, our assistants, head coaches, put them in a position. I think our job to empower them to where it's not my program, it's our program, So the best advice that I can give to young coaches is to be proactive instead of reactive. Be proactive instead of reactive. Continue to grow, right? Trust the process. Loyalty to who you're with at the time shows a lot about your character and where you're going. Because at some point, if you're looking to be a head coach, you're going to have an assistant coach. Mm-hmm. So learn what loyalty looks like, right? What you like, what it's how it plays out. But also, it's about networking. I mean, it really is networking. It's about putting yourself there. Like Chris says, betting on yourself. You never know who's watching, right? So always putting yourself in a great position to where anyone out there is seeing your best foot forward. Yep. And going to the coaching clinics and TABCs and going to, just anything, just grabbing basketball by the hand and just, being entrenched with it and trying to be the best you can each and every day.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's important, that networking part. I mean, one of my favorite parts about CABC or the state tournament, right, is just talking to everybody and getting to know everybody. And you get to learn, even if it's not about, at the moment, getting a job, right? It's about making contact with coaches, trying to get to know what they know. And down the road, who knows? I mean, you may have to lean on one of them for a job. Yeah. You just never know.
I mean, and half the time, whoever's making the hire, when it comes down, it's like the Spurs. I got a chance to talk to Coach Mr. Buford over there, and he said we hire people. We don't hire, just because you're winning. We hire good people, and we place you where we want.
Yeah,
I think everyone gets caught up in those X's and O's times, but your characters, who you are, how you represent yourself, how you communicate. Those things go way further than X's and O's, because we all know there's a million ways to play. There's a million ways. Yep. But, it's the person that can make people believe, who can lead, right? Who could be a great leader, who could be a great great person of, like Coach said, being able to make changes, who can adjust, right? Not only on the court. I mean, definitely, in the public, you got to be a public figure. You got interviews, you're on the news, you're on the radio. So you're a walking billboard at all times. We'll come to the territory, so you got to know how to handle that as well.
I'm glad you said that too about the X's and O's. I tell people all the time, in the interview to have the job I have now, which granted I went to high school there, so it's where I wanted to be, and I'm blessed to be there. But they didn't ask anything about X's and O's, nothing about X's and O's. More so about character and community and how would you handle these situations and raise these young men. Nothing about how would you break this press or, run this.
Because they already know you're in the room.
Yeah.
So if you're in the room, you get the interview, you're there for it, right? So that definitely. Now, hold up. My principal, Mr. Harris, he's All-American. On my interview.
That's different, though.
Yeah. You're down 5 on the baseline. What are you going to do? I'm a coach, an expert. Yeah. What are you down 5 on your baseline? What are you going to do? You're down by 1. Here you go. Go draw it up. My principal took it to another level. I love that guy. Great man.
Well, my deal came a little different, getting the Shadow Creek job. I would also say, be where your feet are, right now. When I was an assistant at Marble Falls High School, my first high school job, the principal that was there at the time was now the superintendent of human resources here at Alvin ISD.
Wow.
And so the job that I was able to do with those kids in that community was something that it obviously caught his eye, and so me spending that time and developing and spending that time building those relationships, with the people in the community and, within the program. And then it's just something that, what he told me was that he just liked what he saw. So he followed me. He followed my career. And then when I guess he was able to get this position, that was the first phone call he made, and so, again, you go back to, what advice would you give, young coaches? It goes back to just making sure you're taking care of business right now, not focusing on the next job, but focusing on the job at hand, and like Coach Hall said, you just never know who's watching you. You never know who's going to put in a word for you. And so being where you are now is very, very important.
Yeah.
And I can piggyback off that. I actually played for Coach Lane. He's the AD at Northside.
Yeah.
Athletic director. I played for him in high school. So that relationship from when I was a high school player and me going to class every day, getting good grades, staying out of trouble, doing the things as a young kid, definitely propelled me as an adult, to say, hey, just like one of our players, we all have guys that we'll hire one day. Like, oh, he can work for me.
Yeah.
His third, he's driven, so like Coach said, being where your feet are, man, you're leaving an impression, and you're making decisions. Even when you aren't making decisions, you're making decisions. That's one big thing I talk about with my guys. When you don't make a decision, you make a decision. Like, you're making one. So, so I think that's very important as well.
This just came to my head while you were talking, Dave. What would you tell a guy that maybe interviewed for a job, didn't get it? What advice would you give that guy?
I mean, you have to keep trying. I've got a guy right now that I play high school ball with that I feel like he's ready. He's been ready for a head coaching job. Then again, it's I feel like, I'm a man of faith, and I believe that, there's a reason why, or there's a reason why, or why not, and so, maybe it's something that God may have a bigger plan for you. And I give everybody this example. My high school, now you got to understand, like, I have a family who's it's a football-based family, but any success that they've had since the 70s, there's been a president that has been involved. State finalists between, we've had every one of my uncles, my cousins have had a chance to go play ball at the next level. And so I feel like, that the tradition of my family at Temple High School, it's unreal. It's unmatched. So I was a finalist for that job 2 years in a row, and with my family's history, with what I did while I was in high school, you would think that, this is the job, this is my job. This is meant for me. and I didn't get it. Like I didn't get the job, and I would always go back and I held a grudge with with the school district, and I held a grudge with, former coaches, and I held that grudge for a while, and I just didn't understand. I didn't understand why they would have me here and not hire me, and now I'm at Shadow Creek, where I was able to build my own program and have the success that we're having. And then you look back, you're like, man, there was a reason behind that. There's a reason why, I didn't end up at Temple. It's because God said I had something better for you, and so as you go along this journey, man, you just have to understand that, God's going to put you in the right situation for you. It might not always be what you expect or what you, or the way you want it to be. But there's always a reason. So to those guys, man, I just tell them, man, look, just keep grinding. When the moment's right, it'll happen for you. So that's my advice to them.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, to piggyback that, I agree. It's just about timing. You got to have faith. Like you said, I definitely, believe in God, and I believe everything happens for a reason as well. And, it's just one of those things to where whenever you look at the situation, it's like, if this is not for me, something is down the road, and, we all have a plan, right? We all have a plan. We all have purpose. And I think that use those interviews and everything that you are part of as experience, definitely using it as an experience. Dave, like you said, he didn't get the job for 2 years in a row or 2 times in a row at Temple, but he took, that experience from those interviews and look where he landed, right? He could have definitely just given up and been like, I'm going to do something, we can all go make more money doing something else, right? But he definitely believed in himself. He believed he had value in himself, believed in his skills and in himself, and it paid off, right? So I think when you bet on yourself, like Coach Chris said earlier, when you bet on yourself, you'll always land on your feet. Maybe the timing might not be right on your court, but it'll be timing on his court.
Nice. Good stuff. Before we call this one a day, just real quick, looking forward to next year. What you guys got coming back. I know, Jarvin, you guys are moving up to 6A. Just any kind of goals you got set for you guys right now moving forward for next season? Any plans?
We're taking that jump to 6A as well,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're taking that jump as well. And so, for us, we return just about everybody. The goal doesn't change for us. I mean, we feel like we can win at a high level. And so the goal stays the same. The focus stays the same. We of course we've got, this virus going on that's kind of slowing some things down as far as development with some of the younger guys. But we're here to work. We're here to work. We're here to compete at a high level. Our guys understand that and they know it. They'll come in with high expectations. They'll embrace the challenge of moving up to 6A and just competing at that level. But for us, it's one day at a time. We focus on the things that we can control. I feel like as long as everybody's healthy, I feel like we'll give ourselves a chance.
Yeah, same here. Good thing about me and Chris, because we see each other everywhere. We prepare our guys to be able to handle whatever situation comes their way. We're at all the gas holes playing the 6As. We're at the summer leagues and the classics. We're everywhere. So I think that this year alone, we played Stevens and Jay and, Lubbock Monterey. We played Vandergrift, guys going to the NBA, whatever. So, definitely we've already put ourselves in front of guys on that talent level. Now you got to go do it, right? You got to go do it. But I think by us having some success this year, really just brought more buy-in for a new program and more of just dedication. But with the whole virus going on, luckily, we're all going through it, right? So we're all going through it. We're all the same starting point. and those type things. But I think those who are working the hardest right now when no one's watching is going to have an edge. Like, the kids that are running the miles every day and putting up the extra shots and working on the ball handling and lifting the weights. And I think those are going to be the teams that are really pushing ahead when you have a group of your guys working right now while nobody else is, So I think our goal definitely doesn't change. We're familiar with the district already. Luckily, I've coached in the district. I know all the coaches. I know, what's coming. So it's going to be a good challenge. And like Coach said, we just have to take it one day at a time. If you can become 1% better each and every day, you're going to be a good team in the end.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Well, I appreciate you guys taking some time out to hang out and talk. Ain't seen you guys in a while. I told Dave he looks a little scruffy there.
Yeah, man. That's my quarantine look, man. I can't get to the barbershop. Just going to see what it looks like. I got my Popovich going on right now, man.
Save on off.
Well, again, I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys stay safe and healthy during all this quarantine stuff. And if y'all need something along the way, just hit me up.
Same here. Same here. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Y'all take it easy.
All right, bro. Yep.
Hey, thank you.
There you are.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
What's good, bro?
Yeah, man. You need a shave, man. I ain't never seen you with that big scruff on.
Quarantine look. I'm bringing out my inner pop.
Yeah. Every time my beard grows, I see more and more gray hair.
Yeah, man. It's all over.